Welcome back to the Hockey X podcast. I am Mason Hackle. It's been a while. I missed all of you. What we have today is one of my executive clients is giving a testimonial to the work that we've done over the past 3 months. So basically what I talk about when I say executive client is I literally travel out to go train them 2 to 3 days every month, and they get access to an online portal just like a bunch of my other clients. They get access to my personal phone number, so they're able to contact me at any point. And then I'm just sharing this because of the success that we've had in a solid 3 months, the bond that we've had to, and the progress, just the total transformation in a very little amount of time. And I'm also showing the rest of you that I'm willing to go out of my way, provided there's a price involved, because there is an exchange of value for this investment. But I am willing to go out of my way to help people out to this extent. I've flown out, I've also driven out, and I'm willing to do that for anyone else, any one of you who requests that for this type of service. So if you're interested, there will be links in the description to register a free initial consult. That way you get to talk with me one-on-one, and we get to see if this is a good fit for you, because not everyone can make this investment. Not everyone wants to make this investment, and I understand that. So what this consult would do is determine if we're a great fit for each other for this plan specifically. And the other cool thing is that it's fully customized to your individual needs. So if we need to make adjustments for you specifically, then we will make those appropriate adjustments. Anyway, now it's on to my clients. He has requested to keep anonymous for this time. You will be able to hear his voice, but all other information will be anonymous at this time. Take a listen. All right, man. Well, we're coming towards the end of our executive package together, which basically means that I come to travel out to you, train you for about 2 to 3 days in person, in addition to all the other resources that we have with the online coaching system inside of Hockey Hacks. I don't know about you, but I've really enjoyed working with you and seeing your progress and seeing your growth through the past 3 months. You want to tell a little bit about yourself too? And just for everyone else listening, we're going to keep the details anonymous just because this client has requested to do so. Anyway, go ahead, man.
So I'm playing junior hockey right now, and I reached out for a lot of the weight training stuff and the mobility. And, this package has been great. I've been able to talk to him every day as much as I want. And I've gotten a lot of feedback from everything from skating and actual practices to games to lifting. So every resource related to hockey I've gotten feedback on, and it's been great to have him in the gym. My workouts when he's been here have been way more intense than on my own, which has been great. And it's all been all around a great experience.
Mm-hmm. Really awesome. Yeah, so we... What we had to do was he would get his program online, which I've done with other people, and that's part of the standard form coaching. But with this package, he has access to my personal number, so he's able to text me at any time, and then I have to respond with about 1 to 3 hours as best I can, provided nothing crazy comes up, like a friend dying, which did happen recently, and moving houses and all that. But as the great thing is, we've been able to stay in communication this whole time, and my goal with this is to give as much support as possible, and then show to people that, hey, I'm actually willing to travel out to you, provided with appropriate costs of course, but I'm willing to go out of my way for this. And what do you think? Has it of the worth and the value? What do you think of it all? Has been quite worth it for you? And I know it's only been 3 months too, and that's a little time will tell, because I think a year down the road, you're going to look like totally different, and it's not going to, look. The progress will be like, wow, we have to remember where we came from, because it was like we're just going to make so many gains after that. So tell a little bit about that.
Well, I definitely think hockey in itself is a process, and especially weightlifting. But even in this short time, I felt a lot of differences with mobility and my strength, and all the different tweaks I've had in the past, we've been able to, work around and build back up.
Yeah, you want to talk about that for a little bit?
Yeah, so I've had a few pretty bad injuries, and I've had some problems with my shoulders, my back, my knees too a bit, and
your hips.
I've always had pretty bad hips.
Yeah.
And so we've done a lot to focus on all of those. Built, a good routine with my lifting, my mobility, and just certain days where I focus on the stuff that's weak. And I've seen a lot of progress already, and it's been great. And I think the gym is something I neglected most of my career. So
it's hard sometimes, like with that. I think because like what you grow up with, or and what you let's say be a part of with your team, is everyone does all these team workouts, and you just want to be a part of that group and be a part of the family, let's say. And so you're just so accustomed to doing stuff with them. The issue there is that because it's not tailored to your needs, and you had and still have plenty of those areas where they're personal to you. The team workouts do not address those personal areas, unfortunately.
100%.
It's the same thing with practices too. So the process that we went through was identifying the weak areas, and then we address those. I really believe, like just from working with everyone that I worked with, and even on myself too, when I had very similar hip issues and injuries and things like that, and just trying to improve myself. And I know you related to me on that, because that's why you reached out to me to begin with. But I really believe that's how people make progress.
Yeah.
The best progress is by working on the stuff that you are weakest at, and that to be blunt, that you suck at, and all that. So,
and to touch on all that, I think in terms of value, just the time it actually comes out to you, but also if you look on a weekly basis, like if you were to pay for a trainer in person, if you want to train 4 times a week, that's going to run you over $100, $120. And so when you look at the math of all of that, like when I think the trainer was $30 for 30 minutes. And so with this type of program, you pay for stuff that addresses you, get time in person, plus all the resources online. Like I can compare anything I've done to any NHL player, and I can compare my strength gains to the standards that he has, and I can track all of that progress. And even in a short time, I've seen the progress already. And looking back at the team practices and the team workouts, I used to, like, around 16 years when I started doing team workouts, and I used to hate them because there were certain things that I didn't want to do because of my shoulder or because of the way my back was feeling, and you have to just push through it because hockey's that kind of sport where they want you to just push through, which
no kidding,
is really, really bad. I hate that about hockey.
I do too. Yeah, that's
taking a step back and working at your own pace and fixing is going to help you more as a player, and it's going to help also as a person. You'll enjoy the sport more because you're happy what you're doing and you're feeling good doing it. So,
yeah. To touch on like what you said briefly with all like the standards and different progressions, and even the cost of training per session too, and the value that you get out of this, like the average cost of like a 1 hour session with a personal trainer nowadays is like for 1 hour, I think the national average is $120.
That's crazy.
It's nuts. Yeah, and then you're only with them for an hour. You don't like you don't get outside support. You don't get texting support. Like
majority of the progress that we've made has been just random texts and talking about different ways to recover better and to make the best use of different skates with lifts and cardio and conditioning and all that.
Planning around like your specific schedule.
Yeah,
That's what went into all this
and all that.
Yeah.
You adjust for what's coming up, which is great to have.
Yes, because you don't have time to think as a player. You need someone else to do the planning for you, provided you do some planning because you're a free individual and like you can do whatever you want still.
That's big. Before I had started talking to you, I skated for 2 hours in the morning, then I drove to my team practice. And so the night before I'd be planning weight sessions, ice sessions. And when you're doing all that during the season, you're traveling with the team, you're practicing, you film, you're there an hour before for practice, you don't have any free time. So to not have to worry as much about my training, especially in the gym, which is where I don't know a lot, it makes it so much easier to just focus on the actual workout and feeling good.
Imagine if you had to work too, like for a job, if you had to support yourself. You have even less time to think about all those programmings and exercises, specifically rep ranges, tempo, what exercises target my specific joints in the body and all of that. Like,
it can get super,
it's a lot.
It can get super hard to focus on all the different moving pieces. I think it'd be more worth it to work to pay for a professional to coach you than
I agree.
to spend all this time and you could just get it wrong and hurt yourself.
Yes. You definitely don't want to do that. Yeah. Too many times people, even in a personal training setting where I've worked and still work too, like, everyone at some point says like, oh, I can do this on my own, and then they end up not doing that after the fact. So like, every great in every area. So like for us it'd be hockey. Like we have there's always a coach to those great players, because again they don't have time to think about what a coach should be telling them. You don't want to confuse the coach for the player. The player is just supposed to like go out and play the game.
Focus on their body.
Focus on their
performance.
Focus on the performance. Focus on the specific goals and like the point of the game to be out there. And then the coach is supposed to make minor like even in a game setting you have time to think. You need to be like I don't like using the term, but you need to be reactive on points. If you're trying to think of everything that a coach knows in like a small setting like that, you're not going to make a play because you're just going to be standing still. So it's the same thing with training. Literally, there's so many exercises out there, just like there's so many plays in hockey. There's so many like trainers that say, oh, this exercise is the best for you, when actually there's no good exercise. It's the program and exercise selection for you specifically that is the best for you. And then you get a coach who thinks about that for you, who's gone through all of this and can then plan it out for you specifically. I think that's my motivation for not playing anymore personally, is because like I don't think there's enough good trainers who do these custom plannings. And then I also think the HEG system to an extent, which is what I'm using. I'm just using principles from that system, and that's what rebuilt me personally to a point. That's not being used in hockey to a degree at all, and it's a system that has proven to create transformations in athleticism. And like my goal is to bring that to hockey and just be another voice for that, because it's had such great you don't change someone's like vertical jump from formerly 19 inches or so, debilitating knee pain and like just every knee issue up the wazoo, to then magically take that 19 inches to then jump 42 inches by the time you're 32, which is what Ben Patrick did, like without a training system. that's the opposite supposed to happen. You're supposed to be jumping like and be at your peak athleticism by the time you're 25, and then by the time you're in your 30s, that's when you decline. But then, why is the opposite happening here? So, my goal is to take that to hockey, and I know for your specific situation, you feel that that physical ability is the missing link too, and
Yeah.
I agree with that as well, just from looking at you with each exercise and throughout the past 3 months too, that the more ability that you access, it's never been shown to be a hindrance, that more ability is ever a bad thing.
Ever.
And that includes strength training in specific ranges. So you're in a stretch position and getting stronger, which is also what helps to heal your areas and also allows you to be more mobile. But then we also take it to specific strength exercises, which, by the way, we're going to work on today when we're done with this. But so just be ready for that. I got a new one for you.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
It's not in the program, so.
That's exciting. I'm excited.
Yeah, just be ready for that. Like, hey, I'm always learning new stuff. But then
Florida?
no, I've actually done this specific. It's an exercise. It's a variation of a deadlift, but it's correlated massively with athletic performance, and it really helps to strengthen the posterior chain big time. Yeah, so that's going to be your low back. Yeah, we're going to do just enough tonight because I know you're
exhausted.
You're exhausted from your skate the other day. Yeah. Notice how, for you people listening, notice how I'm talking in terms of the individual. I'm not doing anything that's cookie cutter or conventional, or like some program that's made for everyone, some program that's made for the masses.
There's nothing. You can't have everybody.
Yeah.
It needs to be personal.
It's very hard to do that if you do make that. It's got to be personal. I think you're even ready for it because you're not having too many sorenesses with your knees and even your shoulders to an extent, and hips a little bit too. Yes, things do need to open up, but you're not in pain. Like, I think that's a good point.
I would have times where I'd feel like a little bit of knee pain or a little bit of shoulder pain. Doing stuff like the backwards treadmill or sleds, I would do that and I'd feel great.
Yeah.
And I'd be able to go push even harder.
Yeah.
Doing stuff like split squats, which, speaking of related to hockey, one of my buddies, he plays in Europe and he played in Sweden.
Oh, yeah.
And he told me that they do HG split squats in Sweden.
Very nice. Yeah.
They have it down out there.
Yeah.
It's just not made its way here yet.
Yeah. Well, North America is notorious for keeping knees behind toes with every single exercise. So it's going to take a while for that to go through. But, Sweden has, like, a lot of advancements. Like, the Mars blades came from there.
Yeah.
Every skating coach is a good skating coach, and then they make great skaters that come out of that, like Pedersen's and Dahlin's coach. Like,
when you look back, it's because they all focus on the individual.
Yes.
I did when I learned about that, I started looking more into what they do in Sweden, and I learned that they focus all on mechanics for the first 5, 6, 7 years of hockey. Then they start playing a lot of games. And in America, like, we're playing 70, 80 games by the time we're 8 years old. And it only teaches you to just be a dog and go as hard as you can, which
exactly
doesn't always work.
Yeah, it doesn't. That thing about working hard, I think people have that wrong.
I also think you can push yourself to injury by doing that.
That's what working hard. Yeah, you could. If you
David Goggins and you just end
exactly
up
if you depending on how you define working hard, pushing yourself to injury, like beyond that, pushing yourself hard, that could be a definition of working hard. You don't want to do that if you want to have like a lengthened, like long chance at. If you want a chance at pro hockey, you can't do that.
I actually have the best example of that.
Yeah.
Because last summer, I played a few years of after I had a bad injury a few years ago, and after that I hadn't been playing the best hockey. I was playing for some pretty bad teams, and just going into juniors, the off season beforehand, I'd be doing like 2 lifts a day and 2 skates a day, So I'd be working like as hard as I could, but that's overtraining, and that's sort of all I was doing was conditioning myself, and I wasn't making a bunch of strength and speed gains. And so now I have to sort of just take a step back, because I wish I could just train all day. I have to take a step back and focus more on making each workout intense, where my muscles are getting the work they need, but after that doing what I have to do for my body with treatment and whatever else to recover properly and make those strength gains.
Yeah, specific to what your intent is. Intensity doesn't just, in my opinion, intensity doesn't just mean like how hard the workout felt for you and how good the workout felt. It is intentional work on the specific areas that you're doing. So if you're trying to get faster, you need to actually get faster. If you're trying to get stronger, you need to actually get stronger. You need those measurable results to align up with like what your original intent
and I've seen every lift go up by 20-25 pounds in the past 3 months.
Yeah, man. Like you've taken a step back to like
2 steps forward,
recover a bit more. Yeah. And this was in the middle of you being sick too. Like
I was sick for a month with bronchitis.
Yeah. Like but you still got stronger out of that. Like this,
because I couldn't do a lot.
It's funny, yeah. You couldn't do a lot of the work, but your nervous system reset itself and recovered. Yeah, because it takes 6 times longer for your nervous system to recover compared to your muscles and your connective tissues, which is why you feel like you can keep going, but really, if you match it up with the times and anything that's measurable. So if you're going faster, you need this specific time, you need a specific miles per hour, you need a specific like seconds, everything like that. If those numbers do not indicate that you're going faster, take a break. Same thing with the numbers on a bar. If they start to decrease, that's not supposed to happen. That means you're getting weaker.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, so you don't want that. If you're you can get hyper specific with mobility, but the same case happens there. If you're like if you could do the splits before, like if you could do even something simple like palms to floor with your leg straight, if you suddenly lose that ability, relax, reset, come back and live to fight another day.
So what would you recommend? Just taking time off from everything, or what's your ideal like quote unquote rest day or time off?
Well, it always depends on the person. Going back to individualization. But I think.
What about for you? What's your perfect rest day?
I'll say something that should work for most people. I like saunas. I like mobility, like specific stretches. Granted, my training age is a lot older with this style of training specifically, so I'm able to do stuff like more extreme mobility and have like a tolerance for that. Also, my tolerance is high, so I can just keep going because we've ingrained that into us as hockey players. So to just keep grinding, which is like there's some good with that. It means that you'll keep going no matter what. Yeah. And you build up that tolerance for load, whereas maybe someone like a basketball player or a soccer player does not have that same tolerance, or someone in a general pop, they're not going to have nearly that same tolerance, and they're going to be.
I've seen that in real time.
Yeah, to us they seem like wimps, right?
Yeah, there's been times where I've asked buddies to work out, and they said no, and I'd already been on my second workout of the day.
Yeah,
and I was like, being lazy and.
Yeah, so you're a prime grinder.
Yeah,
you'll push your way through everything.
There was days I spent whole days going from. There was one day I skated in the morning, came home, lifted, shot pucks, ate, drove an hour away for a session, left that session early, drove another hour away to a different skate, and then drove home all in one day.
Jesus Christ! Yeah.
I was happy doing it.
Yeah.
And I wish I could have done that every single day.
Yeah. And look, it for some people that will work, but if you want to shortcut results, you got to steal someone else's 10,000 hours. That way you don't go through all that trial and error yourself. Which again ties everything back to the whole point of having like a coach, or looking at the successes of the best players, and not just from textbooks from 40 years ago like you have with the old power skating. Yeah.
I do like power skating, but I also think there's a lot of there's old school power skating that I don't like.
Yeah. I hope my book is an update to that, which, by the way, you guys listening can request to download that. You just message me ebook if you're there should be a link to go through that in the description.
I think it's worth it. Even if there's one thing you want, if it's free.
It's free.
It's a resource. Like you can look up, especially for lifting. If you, let's say you don't, buy and invest in this type of training, just having the aid to reference stuff for yourself, I think is worth it.
And having anything that helps you out, and that helps you out, and you need something measurable when you're determining what helps you out versus what doesn't help you out, because what's measured, what you can measure gets you the results, because what you measure gets managed. That's that principle, that's where everything falls in. I believe that this book, for anyone who can't afford anything like whatsoever, which we can debate on that, if all you can get is a free resource, Hockey Ability is your best bet. I really feel that it's an update to the power skating knowledge, and it's basically the same value as some books that are, actually it's more value than, because it's like thousands of dollars of knowledge into it. If I had it in stores, it would basically cost the same as like your classic power skating book that you see in like name a hockey store, and it shows up there. But because it's free, it's actually more valuable to you than any of those things, just because you have immediate access to it with no
reason not to. If it's
no barrier to entry. Yeah, like I'm probably gonna. It's gonna stay free for a long time. Like if I do make it cost something, then that's gonna be like 10 years down the road at this point. But again, my goal is to help as many people as possible. So I know that not everyone can afford this. If you want to, even though, like you were saying, it's miles worth it for sure. And I'm very happy that you said that and you feel that way, because that means that my intentions also aligned up with with what happened. So there's a great sense of meaning there.
And I also think hockey's it's a very narrow sport. People are open to new things. There's a lot of stigmas in hockey, so I think when you take a step back and you look at what can actually help you versus what people accept, it's going to help you get even better, because you have to put.
That's so true.
Like if you get tripped for certain things, I can name 1,000 things that you get tripped for every day playing hockey.
Yeah.
If you really set that aside and you start to only focus on what you need in yourself, you'll make progress past people that would talk bad about you, and then it really means nothing because you've surpassed what they're going to do and what their ceiling is going to be. So I think a big part in stuff like this, where the knees over toes is not a very accepted thing in the fitness industry. So to take a step back and to try it for yourself and to see if it works, it's going to help you more than just say, no, I'm not going to try that. I'm just going to stick with what everybody else says to do. It's going to be the best for you is when you actually go out and try new stuff and explore for yourself to see what works. There's no better way to do that than trying with someone that knows what they're talking about, so you don't get hurt trying something new. And then when it fails, blame it on something that should have
I hate that. Yeah.
Shouldn't have even happened in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you summed that up perfectly. That's
pretty good.
That covers everything. Yeah. Well, I really appreciate you for all your hard work and all your successes. Being so supportive and not to mention in a time, just on like a personal note, the last month of my life has been absolute hell. Like, the only thing that didn't happen was me getting sick at this point.
That's
I had
happened to me.
I had a friend pass away. I closed a house. I had a date and then broke up with them simultaneously. And I'm almost.
Oh my God.
I didn't tell you about that yet.
Tell me about that.
Yeah. And then I'm about to leave my job too.
You really can't do much more in a month.
You can't do much more. Yeah.
Besides, like, go to jail.
Man, or kick the bucket yourself. Yeah, but
That's true too.
yeah.
Thank God you're still kicking.
I know. Yeah, I really enjoy this. You've been great for me. Like, I've had an absolute blast training you. And I generally feel like this is what I'm supposed to be doing too. You know, getting to know the person one-on-one. I think this is how true business should be like. And this system allows us to do that.
Yeah, it's been great.
I hope we get to do it again soon.
Yeah.
And for anyone else who's looking into this type of service, yes, it is a big investment, but just like we're saying here, we can tell you that it is definitely worth it, even from my side too.
And if you have a dream, you got to do what you need to do to get there.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. And it's the reason I call it an investment is because you're going to get a return on it massively. The more that you put in, the more that you get out of it. So, if you guys are interested in this, please contact me. I'm going to have the link in the description below too. We can set up a free initial consultation and take you further from there. Well, man, really, thank you again.
Of course.
And we will see you all next time. Thanks for listening to the Hockey Dax podcast.